I think that as for today, we might be ready to get started on a new series. I would like to show you all a little something I carved from a piece of scrap here. I will tell you all about this little horsey and how there were certain details it wasn't going to have at first, but it turned out that when I was saving some scrap pieces of wood after cutting out some other things, it happened that I thought that the grain of the wood was this way, but it was actually going this way, and I kind of took the scrap and made it out to the shape of the horse that would have worked a certain way if it had been going this way, but with the grain going in the other direction, it just so happened that there was just a lot of chipping that came off in ways that wouldn't have been expected, so a lot of mistakes became new opportunities to make new ears, new eyes, new nose, and carve out the hooves and burn them in, and even burn the tail in and burn in a little mane. So that is one where I'll tell y'all that I have another scrap of wood that is about that same shape and in about the same grain, but it is going to be one that is going to be used later. I just recently carved out a Great Dane from this new pattern from one of these blanks. The one that's already carved out is in the oil right now. And then I just recently carved out and sanded this collie here. I had just posted these little walruses I carved out of walnut scraps up to my Facebook page, and I will say that there's another little thing that's going to be posted on there soon that I just made from little scraps, kind of like on the saw, sanding, no carving, and unfortunately, for some reason, it wouldn't post when I was trying to post it, so I'm going to try to post it again later. But what I'd like to demonstrate today is another little type of piece of scrap that I had to work with. And with these, you can see that I kind of came out with a shape to make little horse heads. And with this being Kentucky and the way we have Keeneland and here in Lexington and the Derby at Churchill Downs in Louisville and things like that when it's the right season for it, that is kind of the reason why Kentucky is considered the horse capital, and we see a lot of these little horse heads on a lot of our little things around here. So I'd like to say that there's certain lines we carve along this one. There's kind of some bad spots in the wood, so it's going to make it a little harder to see them sometimes. So I'm going to have to take a much closer look to carve along these, but can still really manage to do it, and that's going to be all that's going to matter. So I'd say we're just going to carve along these little lines here. I do want to tell you all this, that it was probably like a week ago Sunday when I did my last recordings and posted those last videos about those little carvings of the doves. And since then, I kind of had a real busy week going for me. Took a while just to take little breaks from recording and stuff to get ready for the autism walk I had this past Sunday out at that stadium here in Lexington. And the names have changed a lot over the years. It used to be Whitaker Bank Ballpark. Now it's called Wild Health Field, and the team, the minor league baseball team that used to play there used to be the Lexington Legends, but now it is the Lexington Counterclocks. So things have just changed a lot in ways, and I used to work at that stadium back when it was still Whitaker Bank Ballpark and the team was still the Legends. So I'd say things had kind of changed since I'd been there, and there's different people now, different management. Somebody else bought the team and kind of gave it a different name, and they have different sponsors of the ballpark at different times. As you see here, I have just kind of shaved away what was left of the mane. or around the mane, the ear that is, just to kind of put a little extra space into that. I'd say that this is going to be a piece of work that's going to make its way along us and show us how we're going to work a little ways about it. And there's little things we've done here. There's been a lot of editation of lines around here since the scrap came out in this shape. This is part of the original shape of the scrap, so I kind of decided to just work along all that in ways that I could kind of just make the head from that. And I'd say that this is just, I'd say, how it goes in our town. We get these little interesting ways and shapes and things to go, and I get an idea from this, and one of these days I might probably make a new pattern based on this, to cut more of these out, to carve more out. I think I might like to do that. It just comes where sometimes an old scrap becomes a new pattern at times. Do want to tell you all that ever since like last Friday, I started having symptoms. I started feeling kind of sick and started sneezing and feeling a little congested in my sinuses, and got worse on Saturday and Sunday. Still managed to go out to the autism walk on Sunday despite feeling all that, and then got so bad off that Monday morning had to call into work to go see the doctor. So we kind of took care of that. We got to do that and got tested for flu and COVID. Turned out that I tested negative for both, but the doctor did say not to take one more day off from work and any extra days if I needed to recover from symptoms. Don't think I'm going to wait until I'm all the way better, because see, today is Wednesday, and then, you know, I'm already off for my third day this week, so we'll probably have to decide to go back in tomorrow. And it's just all about the fact that they don't want you giving germs to your coworkers or to the food or any of that stuff. It's kind of how doctors really are. And so we work our way about this and make so we see that this is just brighter little ways to go about. I just did this little side here where I kind of made the little carve for the face. You can see right here is the place for its eye, and this right here is the place for its nostril. So this is going to be the kind of work we're going to take. And then up here we will finally point off the ears, I say, and get the where we're kind of making it come little ways. I say we got one side of the head here. I think we're going to go to the other side, and you can see the other side here a little clearer because it doesn't have all those other spots in the wood. So we're going to kind of go along this line here, go about the line above the ear, kind of go about this little extra line here, make it so we're going to come along the back of the ear here, make it so it's going to have a little line that we cut out all the way, and then make a little scrap right off of that, little chip off of that, that is. And so just for more lines to come, making our way through it, I say that this is going to be little interesting things we do. But luckily all I have is just a little virus. It's not a COVID or flu or anything like that. Thankfully not anything that serious where, you know, you'd be spreading anything too easily. I feel like I should probably be a little less contagious now. Had the niece over at the house last night and don't really spend all that much time with her, but I mean, I was pretty much in the basement for most of the time. Then closer to the end of the night, sometimes I kind of go to the gym to work out because sometimes when I'm sick, I might need to exercise a little bit just to kind of help me fight off some germs. And I'd say it just really helps me a lot. Helps me to kind of get past all these ways of being sick in ways. And I say that tomorrow I might even go to work and maybe be wearing a mask for all I know. Probably going to need to be wearing one if I'm going to be back at work again, but I really would like to get back to places like McLeod's and Starbucks where I like to go and see people at times, so that's going to be a good place for me to be, just to get around people and get around things. I say that this is just kind of the work that comes along. Finally got the little head carved out. We're going to make one more line down here, around here, to kind of make the little chin out, and the rest, the back of the head, the rest is the neck. So we're going to kind of put this little line in here and show a little work as how we do. And there's probably going to be a little bit of a bigger bit that we're going to use to make the eye in a later video, but I decided that this is probably good enough ways to go for this. I think I'm going to try to make things a little rounder here along little edges and stuff, and make it so we're going to see a little bit more in this. And oh, I tell y'all, little work we kind of have, and it's all just little things that, oh, they work their way to it, you know. It's just how it goes, you know. Making little scraps of wood to finally brighten out how we're going to feel. Think we got a little ways to go about this, and finally just make it so we're seeing little lights as they come and go for us. Think we might just go and kind of go along the nose a bit here, the front of the head. Try to go about these little lines here. Think it's going to be a little thing where we're going to kind of go about the little hair here, little hair on the head, make it so it's going to be bright, shiny days coming right breaking ahead of us. And I say, just for a little work to come along this way, I say, do the little thing where we show a little spirit and work in our art, and finally just make it so we got the lines out along the forehead here. There's probably going to be an extra bit of work to come along later, but I decided for now it might be just about time to end the video. So thank you for watching. I hope to come on in the next.